Junior. I grew up playing Major League Baseball. I like to tell people that. My dad played Major League Baseball for 7 years for the Expos, the Giants, the Dodgers, and the A's. And when I was a little kid, I was basically growing up with all these different players, and like all my brothers and my uncle. So I have a really, really deep baseball background. I played baseball in Folsom in middle school. In high school, I went to Oak Ridge High School. In college, I went to Sacramento City College and Folsom Lake College. And then I like to tell people the highest level I played was in the California League for the San Luis Obispo Blues, which is like a pretty high level collegiate league. I had no business being in, but it was still a lot of fun.
Yeah,
so,
that's a really good team. I've played them. They're very good.
And that was the highest level of baseball I played before I went to UC Santa Barbara to finish school. And I got into this whole media thing because I want to stay around baseball. I still wanted to teach people ways to like love the game and to like understand where players come from, because a lot of people don't understand all the struggles they go through and they don't know the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. So now I'm over at NBC Sports Bay Area. I'm a producer for the Giants and the 49ers, and I do the pre and post game show for them.
Awesome.
And you'll see it on TV sometimes too. I sneak into a segment here and there.
Nice. That's cool. Awesome. Well, if you guys have any questions that you thought of so far, just go ahead and start firing them out.
I got one.
Go for it.
Brady.
So are you like a statistics guy, or do you like give behind the scenes stuff?
No, so my job is to basically come up with ideas and to like run the show. So I make sure that the TV talent you see, like Sean Estes or Kelly Johnson or any of the guys on TV, know what they're talking about, first and foremost. Number two, the show's fun and it's entertaining. And number three, that nothing catches on fire and blows up. So it's not really awkward or we go off air or anything like that. So
that's cool. Okay. All right, keep them coming.
What's your favorite baseball team?
So I actually asked this question a little bit earlier. I don't really have a favorite baseball team because my dad played baseball growing up on all these different teams, so I was always just rooting for the team he played for. Now I'm a Giants fan because not only do I work for the Giants, but I have friends that play for the Giants. You guys might know Mauricio Dubon, the second baseman from Sacramento.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and him are pretty great. We used to work out together. So I obviously want to see him succeed. I want to see a lot of different people succeed, but I've always just been a huge fan of the game. I just love baseball, and I've always loved baseball. So I'll always have a guy on every single team that I follow. Obviously, like you said, I want the Giants to do well because that impacts me directly. But I've always just liked the sport. Like, I just love it.
Keep them going, guys.
I got a question.
What you got, Scotty?
Good.
How was it like your dad being in the big leagues growing up?
It was really interesting because like a lot of different things happen that you don't expect to happen as a kid. Like I didn't know that people's parents didn't play sports. So I would go up to kids in elementary school when I first got to public school and be like, "So what team does your dad play for?"
That's funny.
Like, what are you talking about? What team does your dad play for? Because all the kids I grew up with, their dads played baseball, so I didn't know any different. But it was really interesting. It was cool because I got to know a lot about the game of baseball, things that other people didn't know about the game, and I was pretty advanced learning level because of that. Because I was living, breathing it every single day and talking to coaches and new advances about the game. But then at the same time, there comes the pressure of being a professional baseball player's son. And like, even though my dad wasn't even good, like honestly, like I still felt that pressure, and because he was one of the only baseball players from El Dorado Hills. So it was really interesting growing up. But like I talked to Darren Baker, who's Dusty Baker's son. He plays at Cal right now. I talked to Greg Vaughn Jr., who's from Sacramento area. I talked to all these different kids that their dads played baseball, and we all kind of felt the same. It's like this weird pressure. And it's a little bit of an advantage, but it's a little bit of disadvantage too. When you do well, everybody kind of expects it. Nobody ever praises you. But when you do bad, everybody gets on you. Like, oh my God, this baseball player's son's not good. Like it's baseball. You're always supposed to like fail a little bit.
Mhm.
But it was cool. It was really interesting. It's opened my eyes, and the coolest part about it is I got to be around a lot of baseball successful people that know how to do things the right way. So I've always studied people I've been around, had conversations with them, and I try to give that back to other people.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Someone else had another question.
I did.
All right, go ahead, Brady.
I got one. So, who's the coolest
Ben
guy that you had on your show?
Coolest guy of what?
Wait, what's the like coolest guy you've had on your show? Like your favorite person?
On my show?
Yeah, on the show.
Oh, let's see. I did a radio. So I worked at KNBR 680, the radio station in the Bay Area for the 49ers and the Giants. And I think the coolest person, honestly, to have on was like my buddies, just because like it was just really cool to see their success. Like I wanted them always to succeed in life, and then like basically saying like, hey, I knew the Giants were going to trade for Mauricio. I'm like, dude, Mauricio, let's get you on the show, dude. Like that's my boy. So that was really cool. And then Ross Dwelly, I don't know if you guys know Ross Dwelly.
Oh yeah.
First baseman. He was a first baseman over at Oak Ridge for us. He's the tight end for the 49ers behind Kittle. And he plays for the 49ers. So I was like, dude, Ross, let's get on, dude. This is awesome. So those are always really cool moments. I've had some really, really big names on. I can't really think of it, but like as a producer in radio, which is a lot different than TV, you book guests. So basically my phone is just like, I could play the game of like, hey, who do you want to call? Like I have Bryce Harper's number, I have A-Rod's number, I have all these different people's numbers that you could prank call if you want to, but I would get fired.
Yeah, that's funny.
Call Bryce Harper right now.
Yeah. Yeah, pretend to be Hunter Strickland calling him.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be funny. That's cool. All right, what was your question, Brady?
What's the funniest thing that's happened like on the radio?
Oh, that's a good one. I like it.
Ooh, that's a good. There's a lot of funny things that happen on the radio show. In TV, we're a lot more tame because it's very corporate and buttoned up. But on the radio, when I was a radio producer, we'd have like these segments that I would do called Mystery Guest Thursday, where I would book literally anybody. It could be somebody that's a taxi driver all the way to Buster Posey, and like I'd bring them on, and you have to guess within like 2 minutes who they were just based on their voice. And got some funny responses from that. That was pretty good. The other one was I asked. We had a segment about Uber drivers calling in or taxi drivers and telling us their craziest stories.
Oh,
that was really interesting.
Yeah.
But, I bet there's some good stuff in there.
Oh yeah, trust me, there's some really good stuff. But I don't know, it's always the organic moments. It's just like things like when you and your buddies are just messing around in the dugout or before practice or after practice. Like those are the funnest things that are behind the scenes. So
that's cool. All right. Who's up next?
I got one.
What's up, Jordan?
Who do you think the best player is on the Giants right now?
Best player on the Giants? That's a really good question. I would honestly say probably I would say Buster Posey, just because of like everything he does for the team. He's a great clubhouse presence. He commands the game behind the plate. He still has a great game. He still throws guys out. He's going to be healthier this year because last year, a lot of people don't know, his hips were still banged up. That's why he wasn't really producing. So you're going to see a lot more from him if we do play baseball, which I'm pretty confident we will. And I just was down in spring training before this whole virus thing happened, and he was putting balls out. So that was really cool. I was really impressed by Joey Bart. I saw him take some hacks. He's a stud. He's going to get called up here pretty soon. But I think somebody you guys should honestly watch, not only because he's from Sacramento, and it's a really good story too, if you don't know, is Mauricio Dubon. He's one of the smartest guys I've ever met playing baseball. And I'll never forget the first time I worked out with him. I grew up around the game of baseball. So I always was one of the smartest baseball IQ guys around, even though like my athletic ability didn't reflect that. I knew a lot about the game of baseball, and that's just how it was because of what was around it. But Mauricio, knew more than me. And I was shocked because this kid came from Honduras where they don't have baseball. And I just peppering him with questions like, dude, how'd you like get the feel? Like, he's like, I just taught myself everything. He's like, I never had any coaches. Like, I just figured it out on my own. I was just learning from videos on YouTube, and I just like knew the feel of the game. So that goes to show you that you can really teach yourself anything, and with like the right mentality and having a positive mentality to really achieve stuff. So watch him play. He plays hard. He will play any position without being asked any questions. And even though he's a smaller build and not the biggest guy in the world, he will always have a great at bat, and he can put a ball out too. So he's somebody that's really special that I think you guys should follow. He's probably the best athlete, I would say, on the Giants.
That's awesome. Hard 90 guy too.
Yeah, hard 90 guy. That's right.
Cool. That's really cool. Awesome.
I kind of have two questions.
Go for it.
One, do you know Rick Shue? He's
I
the
do.
Giants. Yeah. He goes to our church, so I was just wondering that. Also, what is the worst thing that ever happened on your show?
Oh,
First thing.
flip side.
Probably the show going off air for a little bit. It always happens every now and then. That's like the biggest thing you can do. But it's probably the just goes off air because somebody hit a button they weren't supposed to. Fortunately, I haven't been the cause of anything bad yet.
Nice.
But it's usually like a player or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Getting back to Rick Shea, he's like basically that guy is amazing. He's a great hitting coach, one of the best. He was with the Nationals, Giants. He was with the Arizona Diamondbacks for all those years. And if you guys know anything about baseball, he replaced Mike Schmidt. And Mike Schmidt's a pretty good third baseman for the Phillies. He was the guy after Mike Schmidt that had to fill in those shoes. He was a good baseball player, and he went to Del Campo, the Sacramento guy. So if you ever see him around, say, "What's up, Shoe Man?" He'll be like,
he comes over and hits with me a lot.
"Oh, cool."
Nice.
Yeah.
You guys are buds.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
he's the guy. He's the best. One of the best
You showed me that I can swing lefty.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah. I'll tell you guys a great story right here about switch hitting. So
Yeah.
my dad was a switch hitter when he played baseball, and he started his senior year in high school. That's how late he started switch hitting, and he did it because he played wiffle ball in tennis ball courts with his friends, and he only hit left-handed so he didn't ruin his right-handed swing. And then he realized he had a good left-handed swing because he was playing every single night left-handed. And he was always outside playing. That he tried it in a game, and the rest is history. And that's probably one of the main reasons why he was a Major League Baseball player, because he was a switch hitter and so valuable.
That's cool. Yeah, I want to be a switch hitter.
Do it. Do it. It's all hard work and just having feel. And honestly, you can put your mind to anything.
Mhm.
Any more questions? If not, I have something to talk about to you guys.
I have one.
Go ahead.
What are you covering right now with all the virus stuff going on?
Good question. Just making up stuff. Really. What we do is what we're trying to publish content as much as we can. So like I'll write some pieces for NBC Sports, or we'll focus on the future. What we're gonna do when the a lot of the content like we want to try out, what do we want to do different, but that's kind of the direction we're going in. And my whole job, being kind of a younger producer, 25 years old, I'm trying to make the shows fresh and fun, because sometimes they can be a little stale and kind of like draggy on. Yeah. So I'm trying to make it fun. I'm trying to add a lot more music. I'm trying to add like a lot more flair to it. And I'm trying to make sure that our hosts have fun, and I kind of fire up a little bit. One of the segments I'm introducing that hopefully I could do when this virus goes away is called "If You Don't Like It, Play Better." What I'm going to do is it's a segment where I go on air and I break down what happened in Major League Baseball, that a player bat flipped, or he showed emotion, or he did something that a player didn't like. And then I'm going to break it down from a standpoint, what he did, why the pitcher didn't like it, why the batter didn't like it. And then at the end of it, I'm going to throw it to some of our old guys like Tim Flannery or Rich Aurelia or Kelly Johnson and be like, and if you don't like it, pitch better. If you don't like it, play better. Because honestly, that's the mentality you have to have right now. If you don't like guys showing you up, if you don't like losing, you just got to play better, man. You got to play better.
Yeah. So what's your
I like
view on
that.
bat flips and all that? and like, you know, getting all pumped up after a strikeout.
I think that's great. I think it's great to show emotion as long as you're in the right position to do so.
Mhm.
So if you're dominating from a perspective that day, you have all of your things clicking, your team's ahead, you don't want to wake up a sleeping dog ever. So say like it's a 2-1 game and you're pumping up your fist and you're getting your boys fired up. Well, you got to understand you might be getting the other team fired up too because they're looking at that as well.
Yeah.
Everything has to be in the right situation, but you'll get a feel for it. I think emotion's great. I think you can use it to an advantage, and I think it can be used as a disadvantage. I remember when I was your guys' age, I used to get all fired up all the time when I got a good hit. And, you know, like they show somebody up that I shouldn't have showed up, and then they'd come back to bite me. Probably get fired up after a strikeout and try too hard next at bat because I was really upset and angry. I let my emotions get to me. So it's all about an even keel and just doing the right thing at the right time. That's going to help your team win. So as long as it's not selfish, I think it's great. And if the time calls for it, but I think there should be more emotion. There should be more flair because guess what, guys? It's really hard to hit. Spoiler alert.
Oh yeah.
If you get somebody, like, celebrate a little bit, but make sure you celebrate with your teammates and you're not doing it in spite of the guy. Do a back flip, but look at your teammates. Don't look at the pitcher.
Yeah. Sort of like the Last Dance we talked about, you know, like people would say things to Michael Jordan, and even the smallest thing that would get under his skin, you know, he's scoring 60 the next night. So like you got to know when to turn it on, when to turn it off. You know?
How many times have you guys played Fortnite or you played Call of Duty and then one of your buddies is talking crap to you, like, dude, you're so bad. Like you're right? Like
Last night, yeah.
Last night.
you're like, okay, sure. Watch this real quick. And then you go off and then you're the top of the leaderboards next time.
Yeah, first place.
Exactly.
Scotty, you camped.
Get those Viceroys.
It's the exact same thing. So you got to be careful to fire up certain people. You definitely got to be careful. But I think it's great for the game personally. I think we need more of it.
Definitely. Awesome.
Any more questions? All right, guys. So I wanted to talk to you guys about something. So you guys are all here in junior high school, right?
Yeah.
What grade are we? Roll call real quick.
7th.
8th.
8th. 6th.
7th.
So middle school for me was one of the toughest times in my life. It was really hard. I did not like middle school whatsoever. I thought it was the worst thing ever because I felt like everybody was always judging me on what I did. And I thought I was underneath a microscope. But being around professional athletes and being around all these super talented people and people that are very successful in life, one of the things I've learned is that people really focus in on themselves. So they don't pay attention to anybody else around them. They don't pay attention to what any writer is saying or anybody in the media or what even their own teammates say about them sometimes. They just focus on their own selves and their own process about getting better. If you're so focused on yourself in a positive way where you're getting better and you're helping others around you, that's all that matters right now. I know in junior high school, it's tough because girls are starting to pop up and then you have all these different things with video games, you're trying to fit in, you're trying to find your group. It's tough, man, but your friends are ragging on you and everybody's ragging on you and you feel like it's just a tough time in life. But what you really need to understand is focus on yourself and getting better every single day. That's the most important thing, is your own self-improvement. So there's ways to go about it. I learned the hard way. Unfortunately, I was always the try hard guy where I would work so hard that like I thought it demanded respect from everybody. So I would tell people like, yeah, I'm doing like 200 push-ups, I'm running miles, I'm doing this. And you know what? Like, unfortunately, like people don't care, but you should care because that's really, really important because you're getting better at the end of the day and you're going to be hitting the ball farther and you're getting good grades. So you're going to be going to a good high school and you're going to be going to a good college. You're going to be put in this class. It's all about your own development. So there's a thing that people do is then they grind in silence, but they still really work hard and they kind of block out all that noise. It's very easier said than done. I'm sure you guys have heard it about 1 million times, but it's so, so important, I think, at this age for you guys just to focus and bear down on who you are and like don't let anybody else get to you whatsoever. Because I know people do. Like they try to get to me all the time. You should see my Twitter. It's great.
all the DMs or mentions or whatever.
tell me that.
Yeah.
But you can't let people get to you, man. It's just like, it's a part of life right now. And this is one of the most difficult times where you're learning like, okay, people like kind of suck, but you got to like really bear down on yourself and work hard every single day. And then the grass will always be greener on the other side.
Yeah.
Hopefully that guy helps you a little bit, because I know that was something that I figured out probably in high school that I wish I figured out in middle school a little bit more.
Yeah. That's really good advice. Really good advice. And you guys have comments on that? Comments, questions on that?
Well, it makes sense. Really good.
Yeah, definitely.
I know some dudes that just grind in silence, and I was like, one kid, he moved away in 6th grade, I think, and that was when like, started to take stuff a little more seriously, and I was like, when the hell did you get so good?
Yeah.
Because I had never thought about it.
Yeah.
Like it took 1 year, 1 season off, and then he was better than all of us.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it happens like that. And that's the other thing too, though. So Brady, gets that much better than you, don't even think about that guy. You need to worry about yourself, because people are going to make huge leaps and jumps and you're going to be like, how the heck did that happen? But you need to worry about yourself at the end of the day and worry about your own development. Like, that's cool. And if he's your boy, pump him up. Like, that's awesome. Like, good for you, dude. I'm so happy for your success. But at the end of the day, you need to worry about yourself and don't compare yourself to others, because that's when you start discouraging yourself. You're like, I don't even want to play baseball anymore, dude. Like, people are throwing 90 all of a sudden. Like, I can't even hit like 82. Like, it doesn't matter, because you can hit 90 probably in 2-3 more years. You see, but if you give up and you let that get to you, how are you ever going to know? Yeah. So it's like, you grind in silence, right? Don't compare yourself to other people too. That's a huge lesson.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Everyone has a different development schedule too. I've met guys who are throwing 80 when they're 13, and I didn't hit 80 till I was 17, So like, everyone's development process is different. So if you compare, then your comparison is going to be off, because you guys are on the same schedule, maybe physically, or like what how you train. So if you just keep comparing yourself, you're going to put yourself in a hole, and that distracts you from your own development.
One of the best stories I have is this kid named Alex Fagaldi.
Yeah, he was on our first Zoom call we did.
Oh, perfect. So
yeah.
Right? Do you guys know his story?
Yeah.
So he told you a story. He didn't make the high school team. And he basically was told to go home, but he kept on staying with it. And his development was insane in college. It took him until college to become a really, really elite pitcher. And I think he's going to be a big leaguer one day. He's got that result. He's got that.
Yeah, he was at big league camp this year.
He was in big league camp. Yeah. He's working with Yadier Molina. He's doing all these different things. So Fagaldi, that's a great guy to listen to and follow. That's a great story. And that's a great example of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. I asked this the last call. I just want these guys to hear it. So you've been around a lot of big league guys, a lot of professional athletes. And what's the main thing you see that separates them from guys who are trying to get to their position who can't make it?
So the thing I see with major leaguers that really separates themselves is like their confidence and how relaxed they are. It's really, really extraordinary. Like, these guys are the most relaxed individuals ever. You'd think that they would be like really not uptight, but like super type A, like Michael Jordan or something like that. But most of these guys are relaxed and chilling. Even Michael Jordan is. Like, they just know that they belong. And that's something that's really, really important. Like, I even mentioned this in the last call. Like, I know when a guy gets called up to the Giants and I'm in the locker room, or I'm in the clubhouse, or I'm in the dugout, and he's just walking around, I read his body language, I talk to him for a second, I'm like, this guy's going to get sent down in a week. Just because you can see he just doesn't have that confidence that he belongs. And whether that takes a hit or this or that, even guys that are 0 for 40 know that they belong and that they're still really, really good, and they belong on this team, or they belong in the league. So it's really something profound that if you haven't been around a big leaguer, it's hard to understand, but it's just like the way they carry themselves. It's their demeanor. No matter what, they're not deterred. They believe in themselves more than anything. It doesn't matter whether everybody else is saying they're going to get cut or they're going to get released or they're going to get traded or this, that, or the other thing. They believe in themselves so much that they're always cool, calm, and collected, no matter what. They just carry themselves in a very confident manner. And to get to that point, you have to work really hard and just be confident. You have to work hard every single day at your craft so that way you can walk around like that. So that way you can believe in yourself. And that's why you guys work so hard right now, even in quarantine. That's why you guys listen to your coaches. Do what you do. Just because you build that confidence and you become that cool, calm, and collected so that way you can succeed. Step in the box, you know you're going to get a hit. If not, you're going to hit the ball hard somewhere no matter what.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's huge. That's something I struggled with in my career too. Even at the professional level, just having 100% confidence in yourself. Like one thing, I was playing in the minor leagues with the Angels, and one thing that they looked for was they liked to see relievers like myself who had high velocities. So guys who were throwing 95 plus, even with 70 ERAs, were moving up. And for me, I was always a guy, I was getting guys out, getting ground balls. I was afraid to throw hard too many times, and that would be the only thing I regret about anything I did professionally would be just not throwing every pitch as hard as I could, because I knew that's what they looked for guys who were going to make it to the big leagues. Like I didn't have confidence in myself to throw 100% every single time. So that's like, if you have that as an athlete, that's going to take you really far. Like even if your skill isn't the best, that confidence is going to take you really far.
It is, guys. Every single person I talk to, I'm very fortunate. One of my really close friends is a former SEAL Team 6 guy, and we talk every single day on the phone about just mental toughness. I've talked to the best writers in the world. I've talked to generals. I've talked to F-16 fighter pilots. I've talked to baseball players, football players, basketball players, and they all will tell you they believe in themselves for anything. Like what made you so successful? Like I believed in myself. I didn't care what anybody said. I was gonna find a way to get this done, even when they was going the worst, the absolute worst, and you're just searching, and you're like, oh my goodness, like am I gonna get like all these different things that were happening on that go on up here? They believed in themselves first and foremost that they were gonna be this. And sometimes it doesn't work out, but if you believe in yourself, no matter what, you always know at the end of the day you can sleep well at night that you gave everything you could. That's a really, really important thing too when you get older. But if you believe in yourself in one thing, you can believe yourself in the next thing too. And then you could dominate that.
Yeah. That just carries over to anything in life.
It does.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna believe in yourself that you're gonna kick all your friends' butts like in Xbox, believe in yourself and you do it. Just like I believe I'm gonna dominate everybody. Then I'm going to talk trash after this match in the lobby.
Yeah, I feel that.
What are the games everybody's playing right now? Come on, I know you guys are playing video games.
Rainbow Six Siege.
Okay.
Rainbow Six, that's
Fortnite and Warzone.
Warzone.
Call of Duty.
Yep.
A lot of competitive games, right? So a lot of research. So I come from a research-based university at UC Santa Barbara, and a lot of research shows that if you take your mentality like you are in a game, and you use it in a video game, you'll do better in your video game. And then when you use that mentality you use in a video game, you take it into a baseball game, you'll do better in the baseball game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Everything's connected like that. It really is.
Yeah. I know you hear stories too about guys like Kobe and MJ and how they were just competitive at everything they did. And I mean, that could be a slippery slope for some people, if you can't turn that switch off. But just having other outlets where you can compete besides just baseball, I think is a really good thing. So that's why I love video games, because I think it, helps build that competitive edge.
For me too.
That's my mom.
I try to compete in the classroom. I try to compete in the classroom too.
Yeah.
When I got into college, I wanted to have the best GPA on my baseball team. I had a 3.97. I had the best GPA. Wow. I just wanted to compete in everything I did. And there's just little things like that because I can hold that over my teammates.
Yeah.
I have this at least. You might throw harder than me, but at least I'm smart.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's cool.
But yeah. So another question I have for you guys: what's the last book you guys read?
Still reading it for school.
For school?
What's it called?
Wait, which one?
I'm
I'm reading this one.
Jeremy,
It's
I'm
good.
reading Order of Phoenix.
Order the Phoenix. That's a good Harry Potter book.
I'm
reading
reading
one about the Red Sox.
Nice.
Nice. So, guys, I try to tell everybody that the most important thing you can do as an athlete is read. It really is. Every single athlete I talk to at the highest level are extremely well read, and they can articulate their thoughts extremely well, and that actually helps them with their development as a player. Because then they can think of critically in ways to solve situations on the field. Like, how do I tweak my swing? How do I do this? How do I get creative? All these different things. And reading is honestly the most important thing. So when I was playing with the Blues, I had a host family, and one of the kids, Bryson Hoyer, was he was like 9 years old, and I told him to read these books, and I just said, dude, this is the most important thing you do. And his development is insane. He's a sophomore in high school right now, and he's in the top 50, top 100 of All-American Under Armour players. He's getting recruited by the University of Miami, Oregon State, Cal, all these different schools as a sophomore in high school. But his biggest strength, his biggest advantage is all the books he read, because nobody else was reading like him. So he has such a mental toughness advantage over other people that he doesn't let at-bats get to him. He moves on to the next thing. And it's really insane because he's not the most talented player whatsoever. He just happens to be that much more mentally mature because of all the books he read. So I encourage you guys to read 2-3 books that help you become a better athlete. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying Harry Potter is a good book. There's lessons in Harry Potter that do help you become a great athlete. But there's really, really good books out there. And if you guys want me to put together a list, I could send you guys a list that really help you develop from an athletic standpoint, that really puts you over the top, because nobody else is doing that. Trust me. Everybody else is playing a little bit too much Fortnite, and they're doing other things that they shouldn't be, which is, it's fine to play it to an extent, but you can always overdo things. And I think if you just read like 10 to 20 pages a day of a book, that's how you become the best athlete around. It really is. All these guys are really, really well read.
Yeah.
Can I use Audible?
Audiobooks work as long as the thing is, as long as you're taking notes with books, right? And you can conceptualize what you're reading. Because if you just read it and then it goes out the other side, you're just saying that you're reading. But if you're actually working on it and taking notes, that's the most important thing. Because now you have that. You can always refer to that one thing when you're struggling. You're like, oh, I remember I read that in this. And this is going to help me right here in this situation.
Yeah, I have cataract, so it hurts to read, like, with my eyes.
Okay.
Audiobooks work as long as you're taking notes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, knowledge is power.
It is.
You gotta train the mind too.
Yeah, I'm trying to finish right now.
That's awesome. Does anybody have any more questions before we close? We have about a minute and a half left before we get booted.
I'm good.
Everybody good? Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks for your time, FP. We really appreciate all of your time and all of your great advice and knowledge. I know I'm fired up after this. I hope everybody else is.
Good.
Yeah.
You guys all read. Really, really take advantage of this time, because nobody else is working hard. I'm telling you, this is the best way you can get better than people in anything. School, with baseball, everything. So really take advantage of this time, and thank you guys for having me on. Honestly, this is awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for joining. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sure they'd love a book list if you have time to put together a couple of books too. That'd be awesome.
I will. Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Had a great time with you, and hope you have a good weekend. Hope everybody else has a good weekend too.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Take care. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Too. Thank you.
See you guys next
Thank
week.
you.
Keep working hard.
Thanks.